Good evening. You're watching the news at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The news at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories. And the big development that happened today was, of course, what happened outside Parliament when the united opposition took out a march to the President's house over the land acquisition bill. Oh, all that and more over the next half hour. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. Leaders of 8 opposition parties marched to Rashtrapati Bhavan against the land bill, defying police orders, hand over memorandum to President Pranab Mukherjee. Supreme Court quashes reservations for Jats as OBCs, rejecting the UPA government's notification, says the community can't be considered backward. Prime Minister expresses concern over gang rape of nun in West Bengal and church vandalism incident in Haryana, asks the state governments for a detailed report. The issue resounds in Parliament. Massive protests erupted in Karnataka demanding a CBI probe into the death of IAS officer DK Ravikumar. Protesters reject the suicide theory. And polling for the parliamentary elections are underway in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu seeks a 4th term in what's seen as a tight race. Our top story this evening, top leaders of 8 opposition parties marched against the government's land acquisition amendment bill. Protesting members of parliament, led by Congress President Sonia Gandhi, reached Rashtrapati Bhavan a short while ago after a march from parliament. They have handed over a joint memorandum to President Pranab Mukherjee, identifying their points of disagreement with the government over the land bill. The Delhi police had denied permission for the joint opposition protest march and set up barricades around Parliament. Tight security is in place along the route, with the Delhi police chief B.S. Basi having said all necessary security arrangements will be made to ensure law and order. And our correspondent Sham Sundar has been tracking these developments, and he's just outside Parliament at Vijay Chowk, and he joins us live from there. Sham, what's the status as far as this march is concerned? A united opposition, Sonia Gandhi and the Congress leading the charge this time. It seems that the opposition has found a good rallying point in the land acquisition bill.
Definitely, we have seen in Lok Sabha also when there was a debate on the land bill. Many of the speakers from opposition pointed out that government has given a issue which has united the whole opposition, and today we have seen that most of the opposition parties, MPs, they gathered at Gandhi statue in the Parliament campus, and from there they marched towards Raisina Hill President House, and there was some barricades, and some 26 leaders of the different parties, they were allowed first inside the President House, and then after that most of the MPs also, they went to Rashtrapati Bhavan. And most of the journalists, though, they were stopped outside Rashtrapati Bhavan, but no doubt that land acquisition amendment bill is an issue which has given new life to the Congress, and Congress with other opposition parties is quite aggressive on this issue.
All right, Sham, but as far as the bill itself is concerned, let's just shift focus to what's been happening within Parliament, and as the passage of the bill is still pending in Rajya Sabha, what's the status of the bill, because it's still not been ratified by the Parliament?
Well, there are two major issues as far as opposition is concerned. One is very important clause, that is social impact assessment clause, and most of the opposition parties, they are not ready to accept the proposal of the government in the amendment bill. And other is before acquiring any land, permission of the 80%, more than 70% farmers is mandatory. So the government wants to do away with that clause also, and Congress and most of the opposition parties, including Trinamool Congress, Left Front, and DMK, Janata Dal United, Samajwadi Party, all these are these opposition parties are opposing this bill, though parties like AIA, DMK, they are satisfied with the bill, and the way government made some official amendments in the present bill also. The government dropped private entity clause, like there was a provision that no agreement from the farmers is required, is mandatory if land is acquired for private schools, hospitals, things like these. But ultimately government decided to drop this clause. But Congress and most of the opposition parties, they are insisting that social assessment, social impact assessment clause should be there, and permission of the more than 70% farmers should be mandatory.
All right, Shyam, one final question. I mean, we've seen what the opposition strategy is. They've been marching, and they'll, of course, be raising this issue within the House of Parliament as well. But as far as the Treasury benches are concerned, as far as the government is concerned, what's their strategy? What's their response?
Well, as far as government is concerned, even if we talk about the main party, Bharatiya Janata Party, at least twice in its parliamentary board, BJP has discussed this issue threadbare, and many of the friendly organizations of BJP, they are worried. RSS organizations, they are worried on this issue, and they have their main worry is that they should not be seen as anti-farmer and anti-poor government, and that's why they were ready to make few amendments when this bill came in the Lok Sabha. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the faction which is for the reforms in the government, they are on the view that if land acquisition bill is not changed, then the development will be stalled, and the promises Narendra Modi made in the election campaign, those promises would not be fulfilled. So there is a catch-22 situation for BJP and the government.
All right, indeed a catch-22 situation. That Shyam keeping a tab of all those political developments both inside as well as outside the parliament. Thanks very much for that update, Shyam. All right, moving on now, in a judgment having far-reaching consequences, the Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled that caste can't be the sole basis to decide the backwardness of a community. Now, it said this while rejecting the centre's decision to grant OBC reservation to the Jat community.
In a significant decision, the Supreme Court on Tuesday quashed the centre's notification to include Jats in the central list of other backward classes category. The previous Congress-led United Progress Alliance government had announced the reservation just before the 2014 Lok Sabha elections.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जाट आरक्षण के नोटिफिकेशन को रद्द कर दिया है। ये न्याय के प्रति देश के 60 से 70% ओबीसीओं की आस्था है। इससे कोर्ट का कहना था कि जब से ओबीसी रिजर्वेशन लागू हुआ है उससे आज तक इसमें खाली इंक्लूजन हो रहा है, ओनली इंक्लूजन हो रहा है, एक्सक्लूजन नहीं हो रहा है।
The court said the possible wrong inclusion of a caste in the other backward caste list in the past can't be the basis of further wrong inclusions. It also said that caste may be a prominent factor, but not the sole factor to decide backwardness. Unquote.
मैंने अभी तक सुप्रीम कोर्ट का पढ़ा नहीं है, देखा नहीं है, लेकिन अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस तरह का कुछ कहा है तो उसके आगे तो कोई भी कोर्ट नहीं है।
The court also found fault with the centre's decision to overlook the findings of an OBC panel that Jats were not a backward class.
देखिए, हम लोग कोर्ट के फैसले से बिल्कुल भी संतुष्ट नहीं है। हो सकता है कोई तथ्य कोर्ट के ने नजरअंदाज किया हो। 9 राज्यों में उनमें रिजर्वेशन था जिनमें ऑलरेडी राज्यों में रिपोर्ट के आधार पे था, लेकिन हम लोग इसको बिल्कुल ऊपर भी जाएंगे, इससे आगे भी इसको दरखास्त लगाएंगे, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की बड़ी बेंच के लिए भी लगाएंगे और आंदोलन की तैयारी भी करेंगे, जैसे साहबानो केस में हुआ था। संसद इस फैसले को पलटे।
ये बिल्कुल मान्य नहीं है, ये हमारे साथ अन्याय हुआ है। हम जो है रिव्यू के लिए जाएंगे, अपील करेंगे।
A numerically strong farming community, for several years, Jats have demanded reservation under the OBC quota in Haryana, Delhi, Western UP, Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and some other states. They even staged crippling protests in many parts of North India. The National Backward Classes Commission earlier refused to give reservation to them in the OBC category. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And reactions have come in thick and fast over the landmark judgment. Here are some of them.
कोर्ट का फैसला है और आरक्षण जहाँ तक बात है, जाट डिजर्व करते हैं, उनको मिलना चाहिए सामाजिक पृष्ठभूमि के आधार पे भी। जब यादव और गुजर को मिल सकता है और जाट उनमें कोई फर्क नहीं है।
असंतोष बिल्कुल है और होना भी चाहिए, क्योंकि पहली बार क्यों इसी समुदाय का कैंसिल हुआ, कभी किसी का कैंसिल नहीं हुआ। ये राजनीतिक निर्णय थे, ये रिपोर्ट्स के आधार पर आए हुए निर्णय थे। अब ये देखना पड़ेगा सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने किस बिहाफ पे कैंसिल किया है, उसके बाद फुल बेंच में जाएंगे और उसके लिए लड़ाई लड़ी जाएगी हर स्तर पे, चाहे वो कोर्ट का स्तर हो चाहे सरकार का स्तर हो। आरक्षण दोबारा में दिलवा कर रहेंगे।
हमारी पार्टी शुरू से ये कहती रही है कि जाट समाज के लोगों को ओबीसी में शामिल करके इनको आरक्षण की सुविधा देनी चाहिए। तो इसलिए हमारी पार्टी जाट समाज के लिए ओबीसी में इनको शामिल करके आरक्षण मिलना चाहिए, इसके हमारी पार्टी समर्थन में है।
व्यक्तिगत तौर पर मैं ये समझता हूँ कि पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट में लोग जल्दीबाजी में इस तरह का जो निर्णय ले लेते हैं, अल्टीमेटली जो कमजोर तबके के लोग हैं, जो 27% आरक्षण में हैं, उनको ये नुकसान होता है, उन पर ये मार पड़ती है।
Now, the Prime Minister has expressed deep concern over the gang rape of a nun in West Bengal and the vandalism of a church in Haryana and asked for detailed reports from the states. Nearly 3 days after the rape incident, there is little headway in the probe. The issue also resounded in Parliament.
Two incidents supposedly targeting the Christian community over 48 hours on Saturday and Sunday. First, the brutal rape of a 72-year-old nun in Nadia district of West Bengal. And on Sunday evening, an under-construction church vandalized in Haryana. The Prime Minister has come forward to condemn both crimes. Modi had assured minorities of a strong crackdown against culprits of attacks on their institutions. The PMO tweeted the Prime Minister's concern on the Haryana and West Bengal incidents, saying both state governments have been asked for reports on facts and action taken on the crimes. After 2 days of protests, business owners observed a shutdown in Nadia on Tuesday. No arrests have been made despite CCTV footage available of the attack. 10 people have been detained. Doctors say the nun's condition is improving. Members of the State Minorities Commission visited the gang rape survivor in hospital.
Whatever happened with sister is very unfortunate. She said that she had forgiven the miscreants who did this. But at the same time, justice should be brought, and all of you already know, the press, all of you already know that the Chief Minister, Honorable Mamata Banerjee, when she came to know about this incident, she had immediately ordered a CID probe.
There has been a breakthrough in the Hisar church attack case. Police say the main accused has been arrested and one man detained.
All are associating.
The attacks also resounded in both houses of parliament. Congress and AIADMK took up the issue in the Lok Sabha as the government rejected charges of playing communal politics. Members also criticized Subramanian Swamy's comments on mosques, even alleging they have built up to such attacks. The government trained its guns on the TMC government in West Bengal over deteriorating law and order.
The state government of West Bengal had completely failed in not being able to arrest the culprits and is looking for excuses even 4 days after the incident has happened, and is looking for some conspiracies and not able to simply do its job.
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has herself faced strong protests on the issue. Her carcade was blocked for over an hour after she visited the nun in hospital on Monday. The pressure grows. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Now, the Chief Minister of Delhi and the national convener of the Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal, went into damage control mode soon after returning to Delhi yesterday evening. On his insistence, senior leaders of the party met Yogendra Yadav late last night. He will also hold a meeting with the party's Political Affairs Committee today evening.
A day after Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan extended an olive branch to Arvind Kejriwal and sought a meeting with him, the Aam Aadmi Party chief has responded saying he will meet them soon. When that will happen remains to be seen, but in another sign of reconciliation, senior leaders from the Kejriwal camp met Yadav late last night. AAP leaders Sanjay Singh, Ashutosh, Kumar Vishwas and Ashish Khaitan met Yogendra Yadav at his residence.
पार्टी में जो कुछ भी घटित हुआ पिछले दिनों, उस पे हम सारे लोग चिंतित थे, परेशान थे, और उसके बारे में हम लोगों ने बातचीत की शुरुआत की है किसी निष्कर्ष किसी समाधान पे जब पहुंच जाएंगे वो भी आपको बता देंगे। अभी एक शुरुआत हुई है, मुझे लगता है इसका आप लोगों को स्वागत करना चाहिए।
बातचीत की शुरुआत हुई है, अच्छी शुरुआत हुई है, बातचीत और आगे चलेगी और जब कुछ रिपोर्ट करने लायक होगा आपको जरूर बता।
The party has been fighting internal turmoil over the past few weeks, with leaders from both camps making accusations and counter-accusations. In another development, the top leadership of the party, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia and Yogendra Yadav appeared before a Delhi court today in connection with a criminal defamation complaint. The appearance came after Metropolitan Magistrate Mayuri Singh took a strong view and said the trio have no respect for the law. Anu Diwan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Lok Sabha today debated the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Bill 2015. The debate was initiated by Congress President Sonia Gandhi. She accused the government of ignoring the interests of the states. But the government assured the House that all the promises made by the previous UPA government will be fulfilled. When Congress President Sonia Gandhi rose to begin the debate on the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Bill 2015, a silent House greeted her. Not only the opposition benches, but even the treasury benches listened to her speech without interrupting even once. Sonia Gandhi said that in the bill, the UPA government had provided for Andhra Pradesh's financial needs to be fulfilled, besides giving a special rail project to the state. The Congress president said the current government was not giving the state what was rightfully theirs.
The state of Andhra Pradesh is presently facing a huge revenue deficit, which is adversely impacting it and its people. To make matter worse, the recommendation of the 14th Finance Commission have not done full justice to the needs of the state.
Sonia Gandhi also said that she'd written twice to the Prime Minister highlighting the concerns of the state. She also claimed that even the Financial Commission was not giving the state its due.
The Polavaram project is crucial for the future of Andhra Pradesh. It must be implemented with urgency and with complete regard to environmental sustainability and with full sensitivity to the resettlement and rehabilitation of all the affected families.
Replying to the debate, Parliamentary Affairs Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu promised that the government would not be biased against Andhra Pradesh. He said the government had even brought an ordinance, something it was highly criticized for.
With regard to Polavaram project, ma'am, you have reminded, I'm happy. I'm also happy Prime Minister also is there in the House. Government is arrived in the situation. On Polavaram also, I don't want to divulge the personal discussion we had. The Prime Minister sent a minister to me. We discussed, I expressed my difficulties with regard to that problem, with regard to implementation of that problem, and it was, at the end of it, it was agreed upon that there will be provisions in the bill.
The government also assured the House that all the provisions made by the previous government will be fulfilled. The debate on the AP Reorganization Bill was one of those rare occasions when the debate was more than just political one-upmanship. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV. Well, time for a very quick break right now. Lots more coming up on the other side. All the sports news, so stay tuned for that.
जाट आरक्षण खत्म। अब क्या होगा आगे? देखिए पहली खबर, जाट आरक्षण खत्म, आज रात 8 बजे।
A new government in New Delhi. New faces.
People are not investing because they are scared of your tax administration.
New thinking.
The auction process is a fair and good process.
We cannot have a one-size-fits-all reform policy.
For insights and perspective.
Judiciary should be more concerned about corruption within itself. The Modi government slogan of अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं. Soon the people's slogan will be हमारे पुराने दिन लौटा दो.
The biggest show on economic policy. Watch State of the Economy.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, protests have erupted in Karnataka's capital Bengaluru and the Kolar district today over the death of IAS officer D.K. Ravi Kumar, who was famous for standing up against the sand mafia. Ravi was found dead in his apartment in Bengaluru on Monday. Demands for a CBI probe are gaining ground even as the police insist that it was a suicide.
An outpouring of grief, a show of anger. Massive protests hit Bengaluru and Kolar on Tuesday, with protesters demanding a CBI probe into the death of D.K. Ravi, a 2009 batch IAS officer. The demand for the CBI probe comes in the backdrop of protesters questioning the police's suicide theory, as no suicide note has been found. In Kolar, where Mr. Ravi Kumar was famous as a fearless district collector, there was a bandh with transport off the roads and schools and colleges staying shut. In Bengaluru, parties like the Aam Aadmi Party and Jai Karnataka held protests.
इसके खिलाफ जो नेक्सस है इसमें राजनेताओं का, माफियाओं का जो नेक्सस है, उस नेक्सस को समयबद्ध, चरणबद्ध समय के अंदर उसको उजागर किया जाए और सजा दी जाए। इसके पहले महंतेश का हुआ, सत्यनारायण दुबे का हुआ, सारी चीजें ऐसी पड़ी है। ये सरकार सोई हुई है और इसे सचमुच में अगर जनता नहीं जागी तो ऐसे ही हत्याएं और भी होती रहेगी।
Forensically, medically, and from the examination of the situation at the location where the incident has taken place, all point towards a prima facie understanding of a suicide.
We don't know how prima facie it looks according to the preliminary report of the police. It is suicide. That is what preliminary inquiry shows. And the investigation is going on. We do not know the cause of the death, exact cause of the death. Let the inquiry come in, investigation be conducted, and let them come out with the report.
Ravi was posted as Joint Commissioner in the Commercial Tax Department in Kolar. On Monday, his wife came home to find his lifeless body hanging from a ceiling fan. The death of the IAS officer has built political pressure on the centre and the state governments.
एक लीड दिया है, उन्होंने कहा कि ये सुसाइड का केस हो सकता है, तो पुख्ता हमारे पास जानकारी नहीं है. It is difficult for the central government to intervene into the functioning of the state government because these are directly related to them.
This death, this unfortunate death in an unnatural way has created very many suspicions in the minds of the people of Karnataka. It is the duty of the government to clear those doubts, to clear those suspicions, and to bring out the exact truth behind the unfortunate death of Mr. Ravi.
36-year-old Ravi was famous for taking on the land and sand mafia in Kolar district. He was also instrumental in clearing encroachments on government land. Although police said he did not show any unusual behavior before his death, reports say that despite his transfer, Ravi was getting threatening calls from the sand mafia. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
More national news and updates in Nationwide now. Indian Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar on Monday called for greater collaboration between Indian and US defense industries. Speaking at a two-day India-US 2015 Partnering for Peace and Prosperity conference in Delhi, Jaishankar said the American defense industry is willing to share technology to co-produce, co-develop military equipment in India. IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde today addressed a conference at the Reserve Bank of India in Mumbai. Lagarde said that there are a number of challenges ahead for the global economy that needs to be addressed. On Monday, Christine Lagarde met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and attended a special session at the Lady Shri Ram College in New Delhi. The BJP-led Haryana government today presented its maiden budget for 2015-16 fiscal. No new taxes have been proposed. Haryana's Finance Minister Captain Abhimanyu said there would be no upward revision of existing taxes as well. The minister announced hike in allocations to all key sectors such as social welfare, agriculture, cooperation, power, roads and transport, and education, health and others. The minister also proposed to remove VAT on biofertilizers to promote environment and soil health. Some international news now, and Israelis are lining up to cast their votes in the country's parliamentary election today. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is seeking a fourth term, faces a tough fight from the centre-left opposition alliance, the Zionist Union. Palestine has emerged as a key issue, with Netanyahu vowing not to allow the creation of a Palestinian state if voted to power.
Over 6 million Israelis are lining up to cast their votes in the election to choose the next Prime Minister of the country. More than 10,000 polling stations opened at 7 a.m. in the morning.
של הדמוקרטיה באה לידי ביטוי ביום כזה. אני קורא לכל אזרחי ישראל לא רק להשתתף בחגיגה, אלא לקחת את גורלם בידם, להכריע על עתידה של המדינה.
לקראת הבחירות אני מרגישה אולי שיהיה שינוי, אבל תמיד יש הפתעות, אז אין לדעת. אני רוצה שיהיה שינוי.
I hope that the strong national and liberal government will be formed, that will include both Likud and Bennett, which has most positive forces in our country, and together they can move to the better future.
Key players urged people to vote for a change, with economy and living standards emerging as key issues. But the two sides, one led by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is seeking a fourth term, and the other by centre-left Zionist Union, made differing promises on Palestine. While Netanyahu promises not to allow the creation of a Palestinian state, Zionist Union promises to repair relations with Palestinians and also the international community.
למנוע את עליית מפלגת השמאל לשלטון, יש רק דבר אחד צריך לעשות, לסגור את הפער בין הליכוד לעבודה ולהצביע מחל.
הבחירות הללו הן בין שינוי ותקווה לבין ייאוש ואכזבה. מי שרוצה להמשיך בדרכו של ביבי לייאוש ואכזבה, יתכבד ויצביע עבורו. אבל מי שרוצה שינוי, תקווה ובאמת עתיד טוב יותר לישראל,
However, Palestinians rejected Netanyahu's comments on the Palestine state, saying that it is part of his propaganda to garner votes. Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party and the centre-left Zionist Union are running neck and neck. Whichever party performs better would need the support of new centrist party Kulanu in order to build a coalition. Significantly, no party has ever won an outright majority since Israel's first election in 1949. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now all the other international news and updates in Global Buzz. The United States has shared credible evidence with Pakistan on Lashkar-e-Toiba operative commander Zakir Rahman Lakhvi's involvement in the 2008 Mumbai attack, days after America reminded Pakistan of its commitment to bring 2611 perpetrators to justice. The latest information is based on the interrogation of David Coleman Headley, who is serving a jail sentence for his involvement in the attack, and the information gained from him. Pakistan today executed 12 prisoners convicted under militancy and murder charges. This is the highest number of hangings in a single day after the government lifted the 6-year-long moratorium on capital punishment. 39 convicts have been hanged since Pakistan resumed executions on December 17th after a Taliban attack on an army school in Peshawar. US Secretary of State John Kerry and Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif have resumed nuclear talks in the Swiss city of Lausanne today. The meeting comes a day after a US official warned that Iran must make tough choices to allay fears about its atomic ambitions. Kerry and Zarif met for nearly 5 hours of talks on Monday before the Iranian delegation headed to Brussels for meetings with the European ministers. The condition of Singapore's first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew has worsened and doctors are closely monitoring his condition. Lee's condition had worsened due to a severe infection and he is on antibiotics. The founding father of modern Singapore, who turned 91 last September, has been in hospital since the 5th of February. Japan dispatched a disaster relief team of 13 people to the island nation of Vanuatu for rehabilitation work in the aftermath of Cyclone Pam. Disaster management officials and relief workers are still battling to get rescue teams to many of the islands that bore the brunt of the cyclone. Japan is to donate 20 million yen in aid, supplies of sleeping bags, plastic sheets and tents. That's all from us. Goodbye.